Hey everybody, welcome back. If this is your first time stopping by and hanging out with us, I'm Karen. You're at the Loft, and that makes you wicked smart. So I know you know what to do with all those YouTube buttons. So today I am going to introduce you to Woody, my life-sized woodland gnome. He kind of took on a life of his own, so let's get right into how I put him together. So you're going to need an old tomato cage and a piece of plywood or some kind of wood that's at least as wide as the bottom of your tomato cage. You're going to trace it out and cut out that circle. And you can see here that I drilled some holes in it and we zip tied that tomato tree to the wood round. And then I took some old spindles. These came from an old table. And I took the legs off and I screwed them right into the wood round. As you can see here, I drilled them from the top down into the bottom along with some construction adhesive. And when you stand him up and he is upright, he is taller than me. I'm about 5'2", 5'3". So he's probably at least, I don't know, 5'6", 5'7", up to the pom-pom of his hat, which you'll see in a minute. So here is the basic form. I got the legs and the body, and the pointy top of this tomato cage will be his hat. So I thrifted these boots, and I filled them up with pebbles and loaded it all up with hot glue and got those spindles really cemented in there, and the pebbles help weigh them down. I got them all the way into the toe to add some weight for this gnome. So let's talk about this frame, okay? So now I've taken 3 poster boards from the Dollar Tree, and I wrapped 2 around the bottom, gluing them first to the wood round to get it to stand up nice and straight. And then I took that 3rd piece of poster board and I kind of cut it in like a cone shape, wrapped that around the top for his hat, and secured that down with some packing tape. I'm going to cover the body of him with some washed, bleached drop cloth that I've had in my stash for a while. I think the last time I used it was with another pair of these spindle legs for my little Ghostie trick-or-treater, my Halloween video that I did. And the top of him is going to be his hat, which is made out of some ticking fabric that I think I might have gotten at Walmart or Hobby Lobby. I've had it in my stash for a really long time. And that was the beauty of this project. This idea kind of came to me, and I just happened to have enough of everything that I needed in my stash to put him together. And he ended up being pretty popular. So I'm definitely making some more next year. Okay, so here you can see that I got the drop cloth applied to the front. I used some spray adhesive and some tacky glue along the edge. And now I'm going to measure from the top of that drop cloth to the point of the cone to get the height of his hat. And I'm going to fold that in half on the fold. That will be the height of the hat. And then the width of the hat is the measurement that I got around the body, plus maybe like an extra foot, maybe 10 to 12 inches, because I want it to be kind of slouchy and not tight fitting. But you can make the hat however you want. If you want to make it nice and tight and a perfect little cone, like a birthday cap, then you do that. But as you can see here, I liked it a little bit slouchy. And you can see that I added a braided yarn trim to the hat. I end up changing that out for some of the brown Sherpa yarn that I like. Here it is right here. And those ornaments I sprayed with the white spray paint, and then I ended up covering them with some antique wax. And I ended up only using the large one for the nose. So here I'm showing you how I made the arms, and I just took some more of the drop cloth and I made a tube, and I stuffed it with some, I don't know if this was buffalo snow. This could have been an old pillow that I stuffed it with. And those get applied to the sides. And you can see how the drop cloth goes kind of straight across. But when I glued the arm, I kind of glued it at an angle so that it would be able to kind of look a little more natural when I pulled it forward to hold the little trees that I want to put in his hands. And then the hat just kind of comes down and covers that all up. And I'm not gluing anything just yet. Now I'm going to go on to the beard. And this fur I got on Amazon, and it comes in sheets. So to get the length that I needed, I had to tape a piece to the bottom for the length. And here you can see I notched out a piece that's going to go up under the ornament. That's going to be his nose. And here's the 3 little bottle brush trees I got from the Dollar General. I wrapped them up with a piece of drop cloth and made that cute little farm tag. And here's the ornament finished with the antique wax. And then I went in and sprayed it with some matte sealer to protect that wax finish. And I ended up going and getting some mittens from the Dollar Tree for his hands. And I'm going to end up stuffing those as well. I just thought those were a cuter option than the ornaments that I was originally going to use to make it look like he had like wood beads for hands. So here you see me tracing out the shape of the beard, and I get it to the length that I want it, and I'm just going to kind of taper it off from the top in kind of like a rounded triangle shape. And this isn't really that easy to do with one hand while I hold the camera in the other hand, but this was the only way to be able to film this because he was awkward and big, and I know I've gotten some comments about the way that I've been shooting some of my videos, but for right now, this is what it is. So you do not, right here, I'm freezing and showing you, do not take your scissor and just try and chop off your guide there, okay? You do not want to do that. You want to only cut the backing, okay? So you're going to need to lift up that backing a little bit and separate it from the fur. And again, that's not real easy to do with one hand, but I managed to get it done. And I show you right here, you lift that up and you want to just get the point of your scissors. Make sure you're using pretty sharp scissors. These are my good sewing scissors. So you want to get the point of your shears up underneath there and start snipping away. Now, normally I would be using my other hand to hold that down, and I would be able to rip right through this backing pretty easily. But because I need to hold my camera for you while I'm doing this, it was a little bit difficult. But you can see here how I'm getting that done. And when you separate the two pieces, you will see how you get a nice tapered, feathered off edge, which makes it much more natural looking. Now here I'm showing you how not to cut it. So here I'm taking the scissor and I'm going just straight through. And you can see the blunt edge that you get with the fur. It's not very natural looking, and it ends up just being a shredded, hairy mess. Okay, so there's your lesson. How to cut faux fur. Cut it from the back only, and you will have the most natural results from that. Okay, so here he is. He's all kind of put together. I don't think anything is glued at this point. I'm going to, yep, how the notch in the beard helps get that tucked in nice so that the hair of the beard is up under the hat. You don't want to look up under it and see like a space. And his beard goes from shoulder to shoulder. And I show you here on the other side how it goes from his shoulder to his nose and how the hat comes down nice and tight and covers up all of that mess. Okay, he's looking pretty cute. I do want to put some kind of trim on this. I'm going to match the hat probably and put some on the bottom. I did paint his legs with some moss chalk paint, gave it a rough coat just to bring in a little bit of the green for the woodland feel. And here I show you the embellishment that I made on his hat. I'm sorry that I didn't get all of this on film, you guys. I was trying really hard to get him into the shop and ready for opening day. But it's just some pine branches that I had in my stash with some white berries and a few pine cones. And then I took that Sherpa yarn and I made a big loose pom-pom for the top of him. I did end up putting some stuffing up under his hat just to kind of soften those folds a little bit. And here's his beard. He's all scruffed up, and I love this fur so much. It's such good quality. And there you can see the mittens that I filled. And I got some shoelaces and some rusty jingle bells onto his boots. And he is ready to embellish any way that you want. So here's a full-length shot of him before I added the little bundle of trees in his arms. And once I did that, things kind of took a little bit of a turn. So here's a shot of what the trees look like as he was holding them. I just kind of had them pinned into place. I didn't really secure it because I was half thinking that the trees weren't really quite to scale. I think they needed to be a little bit bigger. And he ended up becoming a little bit forward heavy and started to lean a little bit. So I took him into the shop and I asked Ryan for a little bit of help, Christy's husband Ryan, the ones that own the tree farm, and he suggested putting him on a wood base. He had a bunch of trees that he had cut down, so he brought me a wood slice, and once he made that suggestion and I saw the wood slice, for whatever reason, the way my brain works, in my head, I immediately saw a picture of an axe. Luckily, my local Party City still had some Halloween stuff out that was discounted, and I was able to get my hands on a plastic child's axe. I went over the handle with some antique wax to make that look a little bit more realistic and bring out the wood grain, and I added some metallic silver paint and some cinnamon Mod Podge to make the rusty crusty effect on the blade of the axe. And here you can see the tip of it right there hanging down by his shoes. So here's the wood slice. I sprinkled some faux snow on his boots and on his shoes and added some pine cones and some pine needles. And the boys at the farm are always saying they go home with pine needles in their boots. So I had to fill up these little boots with some pine needles and some snow. And this base changed the game for this woodland gnome. It really helped secure him and make him stand up nice and tall. And here is the up close shot of the axe. I get that all rusty crusty on the bottom. I glued that into his hand, and that was the final detail for my guy. And I am absolutely in love with the way he turned out. He was a big hit in the shop. People had a lot of fun having their picture taken with him until it was time for him to go home with his forever family. And here's a shot of him in his new home. And it looks like he's going to have a lot of friends there. So I'm happy for him. What do you guys think of Woody? Do you love him as much as I do? Talk it up in the comments for me. And as always, thanks so much for being here, you guys. I appreciate you and the time that you spend here with me. So if you liked what you saw today, you know what to do to show me all the love. Happy New Year, everybody, and I'll see you in the next one.